Just a really quick video of my El Cheapo soil mix. I've put probably about 2 shovel loads just of this coarse sand. It's just sand from an old pool filter that we had. I also put a little bit of bluestone and just gravel mix. This is just local gravel, which also has sand and some clays and other things in it. So primarily that's all that's in there at the moment, besides some charcoal. Just walked past the fire, so I chucked a little bit of charcoal in there as well. Not much. Then I'm just going to put probably about half a bag of that's just cheap potting mix. I'll come back with the video in just a sec because I've got to grab a couple other bags of stuff, and I'll show you at the end basically what it comes up looking like. This is mainly what I use for succulents. I use a much richer compost mix for a lot of my other plants, but this one's always served me reasonably well, so I thought I'd show others. So with the magic of video and needing to charge my battery up for a little bit, thought I'd just come back and quickly discuss it. I like to throw the coarser stuff in first before I put any of this stuff in. I'm mainly just using cheap bags, a little bit of compost. Main need will be potting mix, about half a bag of that, a few handfuls of compost and just a few handfuls of cow manure. If you're not living in a spot where you want too much of that kind of stuff in, due to moisture retention and things, don't add too much. But I always like to add it to my gravel, so I don't kind of over add too much of the potting mix and things like that. But I'll chuck some in and give it a quick mix and come back and show you the consistency in a little bit. So after a quick little mix, that's about consistency that we got. It was probably about a 1-to-1, so about 10 shovel loads full of the gravel and about 10 shovel loads full of potting mix. I haven't added any compost yet. I'll just do that by hand. Literally just going to sprinkle probably about 4 handfuls of compost, maybe 6 handfuls of compost over the top. Mix it back in, and probably about the same of just some cow poop or cow manure blend. I only just put a little bit in because these are going to be in pots for probably a good year. I'll show you the pot I'm generally like using. I find these little square ones perfect for succulents, and this is predominantly just a succulent mix that I'm making up here. I made up heaps of other pots with a bit more of a compost / potting mix blend for other types of plants, but I find this works well for me in my area and my heat and humidity and all that kind of stuff. So I shall add that other stuff and show you right at the end. So that's the 2 little extra piles of just cow manure and a little bit of compost. Again, you don't necessarily have to use it, but I like to add a little bit. Some slowly release fertilizers and things like that could be another option. But I'll just give that another quick mix, and one last, I might even add a little bit of vermiculite, only because it's shiny and pretty. I don't really find it that useful, but it does look nice in the pot, I think. So I'll add a little bit of vermiculite as well, and we'll see what it comes up looking like at the end. So we're at our final mix. I was lying before about vermiculite. It's not bad to chuck in. It has given me a nice texture, and it does help retain a bit of moisture, and it's shiny. So that's kind of the basic soil mix. Sometimes I'll put tan bark and other things into it depending on what I'm planting. Decor, if I'm planting some plants that like a little bit more water retention, but that's kind of my base succulent mix there. I'm going to fill up a few of the pots, and I'll finish it off with a quick water drainage kind of look, so you can see how quick it will drain through. And again, like I've got to say, this is what works for me and might not work for everybody and their soil needs. I am in a very hot, dry climate in summer, way above 40 degrees sometimes, so that's why I like a little bit of extra water retention in my plants, because 1 or 2 days out in the sun, those little black pots, they will dry out uber quick and cause me problems. And I also get a lot of frosts and things like that in winter. A bit of looksy around while this is a lot of babies coming through at the moment. This is kind of where I do a lot of babying and that. And there's some babies coming off the monkey tails, which I'm going to take some more cuttings of soon. This is one I did a couple of weeks ago that I showed some pictures of. All of them are kicking on, quite happy. Same kind of soil mix going on there, a bit more gravelly, as you can probably tell. They can all be adjusted quite easily. It's not a rocket science thing. The plants will still grow, whether you've got 5 handfuls of one thing or 6 handfuls of one thing. It's just the kind of rough consistency that I'm looking for. So these are all just your babies coming through. And these are some of the other plants that I pot. There's also some succulent going on in there. These ones are a little bit too much out in the sun, that's why they're yellowing off like that, so they might not actually pup. I generally do prefer to pup in the shade. So yeah, that's kind of what I've got coming through and what I'm going to be doing more cuttings of and all that kind of stuff, which is why I need lots and lots of extra pots. Pots galore. Alright, so that's my little bit of a soil mix, how I kind of go about it. Like I said, you can use that same kind of soil mix. Got about half a barrel there. If I really wanted nice draining soil, but with a lot more mulch and things like that, obviously I could add a lot more potting mix, mulch, and compost, which would then be good for veggies and all kinds of different aspects. But this does give a very good base to my soil needs for drainage and things like that. So last little bit of a look so you can kind of see what's going on in there. And hopefully that helps. But I will come back real quick and just do a quick little water pour on some new pots, just so we can see if it's looking good. And that's how I test most missiles, is actually put it into a pot and pour some water through it, let it soak in generally for about half an hour, and then come back and pour more water through it and just see how quickly it drains through. The first one will obviously soak up a lot of the water pretty quick, but you'll see that's very quick draining. All right. I'll come back in a minute. So thanks again to the magic of video. Probably around about 40 minutes now later, wheelbarrow is empty and I've got some pots on the go. I figured out of that I've probably got about 60 pots, just various sizes. I like a lot of those little square ones, but I just filled up whatever I could find around that wasn't too big. Also did a few big ones just up there. All those ones are from another day, slightly different mix going on in there for more transplanting and other things that I've got going on soon. So what I normally do now is just wet it all in. I'll do that for a couple of days. I will come back and show another quick video shortly, because again, you won't kind of be able to tell how, what the drainage is doing until it is a little bit moist. It is going to suck up a lot of the moisture, obviously, because it is a dry mix. So yeah, I didn't think that was too bad. It cost me probably half a bag of potting mix. It's about $4 a bag potting mix, so $2 for the potting mix. Probably about $1 worth of cow manure and about $1 worth of mulch, and probably a few dollars worth of vermiculite. The rest was sourced locally, so not too bad price wise. And I find, as I said, it works for me. Might not work for everybody, but I don't think you need to go buying really expensive succulent mix. But understanding your conditions, I think, helps a lot, because I can adjust my mix a fair bit depending on where I'm putting them, whether they're in the shade underneath this area or whether they need to be full sun ones. So I can play around with the mix a little bit, because those little pots going out in the full sun, you're going to have probably a baked succulent pretty quickly, especially in 45-degree sun in the middle of Australia here. So most of these will stay in the shade for most of summer, and as they're next year's plants and for next year's cuttings and mother plants and all that kind of stuff, they will be finding a place in the shade. Right, but yeah, I will water them in for a couple of days just to kind of get rid of all the air bubbles and everything else. Make sure it's nice and damp before I actually start thinking about putting succulents in, which I will do another video in the next couple of days, because I've got a few props raring to go, so it might be another little quick video demonstration that I can show. But hope you enjoy your soil mixing. I'll just give this a quick watering in. Pretty hard to do it while, oh geez, 10 litres of water ain't getting lighter. So yeah, just give them all a good watering in. I don't put stones at the bottom of my pots. I used to, but because most of these are transplanting kind of style pots, I don't want too much stone mixed in, because even with these ones here, that I'll just give it a little bit more of water, they will be for transplanting, but they'll also form the base of my succulent mix next time round. So I'll empty all those pots out of that more lush compost mix, mix some more stones with it, and then that becomes my kind of reused, recycled compost mix. Sorry, not compost mix, succulent mix. So I find it works for me. You can see the water's draining away. Well, draining in pretty darn quick. But I'll just let them soak a bit of that first can up, and I'll come out and do another can later and see if they're still doing kind of the same, which is what you want to see in succulents, is quick drainage through. But I think it's also important, especially in my conditions, to have stuff in there that's going to retain some moisture just for the plants to rely on those dry days. I'll just finish off with a quick look-see around. But yeah, I'll add a little bit more of a video to this little series shortly. So this is the following day. Just thought I'd do a quick run over just to finish the video off, just so you can see how reasonably drainage they are. If I dip my finger in there, I did water them yesterday, you can see that it's getting a little bit of grip to the soil, so it's not super wet, but it is nice and damp. But as I said, I like just doing this for the first couple of days, just to settle the pots and just check my drainage. So we can see after a quick water, it's draining away quite nicely, pretty quick. That's kind of what I want, and yeah, that should retain the moisture that I want. So happy days. Cheap way to make some dirt.